so I've seen the first, like, I think it's like 30 minutes they gave us of the Sea Beast, which I'm annoyed at where you guys cut it off. That was not cool.
Sorry.
I'm like, are you kidding me? This is where you end it? But I can't wait for more. Really enjoy it so far.
I'll let you know everybody dies.
Oh, I don't say that. Everybody dies. That's horrible.
There's only like 5 more minutes. It's terrible.
Well, I would love to know just where the inspiration for this movie came from.
I would say that it may sound like maybe glib, but the truth is it goes all the way back to when I was a real young kid. You know, like I loved adventure story. I loved movies as a kid, but particularly adventure stories, and any story where a character would kind of leave the known world, the world they're comfortable with, and heads off into the unknown and faces unknown peril. There's something about that is just so invigorating to me, and I always wanted to tell a story like that. And so it goes back to my love of King Kong and Raiders of the Lost Ark and Lawrence of Arabia and those kinds of movies, these sweeping epic journeys. Those were the ones that really fired me up, and I wanted to make something that felt like that. And I know it's dangerous to bring up some of the best movies ever made in comparison to some of you've worked on, but that was the bar for me. I wanted to make something that made people feel the way I felt about those films.
Well, yeah, but like I said, this 30-minute mark, I'm like, I need more. So that's always a good sign.
Good.
Now, I'd love to talk to you about creating the different like looks for these sea beasts, because I think they all look pretty cool. So can you talk about that?
Yeah, well, it starts with conversations about what their role is in the story, you know, and the functions they need to serve. And then it's a lot of back and forth with the character designers. And we talk a lot about the way that we want to make the monster, the way we want a monster or a creature to make you feel, right? So for example, the first monster that they encounter, we wanted that to feel dangerous and perilous. We wanted to have a design that felt that they gave you those feelings like, oh geez, I wouldn't want to have to mess with that thing. And then also in practical terms, you know, you start to think about how would you build a scene? How would you build a scene around this design, or how does this design fit the scene? And again, so that first creature that we face has particular attributes that bring out the best in the sea monster hunters. So some of it is just aesthetically, how does it make you feel, and some of it is in more practical, pragmatic terms. What can we do with this design? You know. But then a lot of it just goes to like our amazing character designers doing literally dozens or hundreds of designs and iterations before arriving at the one. And sometimes our designers will put up a whole wall full of amazing images, and you're in a place where you can say, well, I kind of like the feeling of this, but what about elements of that one? Yeah. And you kind of mix and match and make something really cool. But then you know, each creature we encounter a different place in the story and has to serve a different need, and therefore the design has to evolve as well.
That's awesome. It sounds like it's fun to create them.
It's not the worst job in the world, you know, to be able to sit in a room with some of the most talented artists in the world and say what if, you know, and talk about different possibilities. And I do sometimes, I try to appreciate that, you know, I try not to take it for granted that I'm in a place where I get to work with people of that caliber. And you know, as a director, oftentimes I'm just a conduit for other people's ideas to try to get them on the screen, you know, and I'm the beneficiary of literally hundreds of people's talent and effort, and I think you see it in the movie.
Yeah, definitely. And then before we wrap up, I feel like the theme, so to speak, of the early press day was ropes, and how difficult ropes are, and how you made sure, you know, I mean, it's important for things to look functional on the screen. So can you talk about the importance of that, even though you threw ropes at people and made them spend hours figuring this out? The thing with ropes is you can't avoid them. If you're going to tell a story that takes place on tall ships, and if the mission is to make the world feel authentic, then you can't avoid ropes. They're everywhere on those ships. If you've been on one of those things, there's literally hundreds of them, and everywhere you look. And
And so we wanted the movie to feel like Master and Commander in that sense, that really takes you to that era and that time and that place. And so we knew that from the beginning that was going to be a challenge. And if we didn't accomplish that, the movie would suffer for it, because the world wouldn't feel as immersive or as plausible. And that was so much of what the goal was for us, right? And so, but the nice thing is, if you know that's going to be an issue up front, you can tackle it. So from a technology standpoint, you can say, okay, this is going to be one of the potential pitfalls for us. And then again, you have these amazing designers, but also software designers that can really help you with that kind of thing. And you know, it was a Herculean effort. And to their credit, you know, they pulled it off. And then, you know, unfortunately, in a way, it sort of disappears into the background in a sense. It's done so well, it doesn't look hard, right? And you almost take it for granted. But when you approach the film that way, what the audience is left with is a feeling of they believe in the world. And when they believe in the world, they believe in the danger, and they're really there for the experience of the movie. And so it's work that in a way disappears to the background, but it's essential at the same time. And that, you know, that's animation, you know, like every little thing is a choice, but you have to sweat the details or the world falls apart. And so there's so many unsung heroes on a big animated film like this. And again, I really try to not take it for granted and try to appreciate all their hard work as well, because it's years of my life working on one of these movies, but it's years of their life too, you know. Exactly. And so it has to be great for the audience and for everyone who participated in making the thing, you know.
Yeah, definitely. I'm excited to watch it again and look at the ropes, because like you said, I never paid attention to it when I saw the first 3 minutes, and now I'm going to be like, where are the ropes? Let me look at the ropes and how normal they look. But thank you, Chris.
Oh, no problem. Just when you watch it again, it bears, I think, repeated viewing, just to pay attention to the little details, the things in the corner of the bar. There's beautiful. There'll be a beautiful design of a frame around a painting that, again, you might not consciously be aware of, but unconsciously it fills out the world and it makes it feel plausible. And that's so much of the experience, I think, of watching a movie like this. Yeah, absolutely. And again, thank you for taking the time. I'm such a big fan of your work. My whole family is such a big fan of your work. So I appreciate you taking the time. Thank you. Thanks. Thank you so much to all my monetary supporters, my members, and my Patreons. Love you guys.